Is this the last week of the tour with Thursday?
Yes, we end on the 17th. So I see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, how's it been?
It's been great, man. It's been a lot of fun. The shows have been awesome. Turnouts have been cool. So yeah, and I get to watch Cursive every night. So that's a plus.
Right, right. So this is you guys are celebrating the 21st year of
Yes.
which record is it?
Full Collapse.
All right, Full Collapse. So how are these songs feeling 21 years on?
They're just as fun as I remember them, man. It's awesome to like remember. I remember exactly where I was when I wrote all these songs, when I recorded them. You know what I mean? So it's just fun to like get a little flashback every night. Of where I was at the time, and then being like, holy shit, I'm here right now. This is crazy. You know what I mean? And the songs are still as fun to play as they ever were. And there's not a whole lot of there's not a lot I would have changed about him. You know what I mean? Like I do some fills different every night, but not really. You know what I mean? I try to keep true to the record, and it's still, I feel like, yeah, I just feel grateful to be able to still do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people still want to hear these songs. So,
did you have to kind of refresh yourself, or are they all just permanent memory?
I think they're mostly permanent memory. You know what I mean? Of course, like it takes a pass through each of the songs just to remember the muscle memory. You know what I mean? Because for me, once I do it once, I'm like, okay, I remember how this feels. You know what I mean? It's not about like, I always say this, that when you're on tour and you're playing your songs, you get really good at your songs, but you get really bad at playing drums.
I've heard that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I enjoy my time at home practicing, you know what I mean? And then that's what gets me to go over the song once and it's like, okay, I got it. But then it's when I'm away on tour and I'm playing these songs that I come home and I'm like, man, can't do anything.
Now, is there anything that you feel builds while being on the tour that is long standing? Like for me, I felt just that intensity kind of helped to make everything else a little bit more sharp when I got back home. Is there anything about touring for you that improves when you get back home doing studio work or whatever it is that you're doing?
Oh, definitely, man. Like I'll video myself every night, or whenever I can, and I'll watch the videos back at night before I go to bed, and I'll kind of like critique myself and be like, all right, well, you're rushing this. Like, remember when you're at home, like don't rush this stuff or whatever. Because a lot of the Thursday stuff, especially Full Collapse, is free time live. Because the songs were written and designed to not have like, there's a lot of time signature changes, for example, or just field changes within the song. So, having a tempo map just wasn't an option back then. It was, we just didn't want to go there. You know what I mean? So, it's fun to like, when I'm at home, I try to do everything to the metronome. You know what I mean? If I'm like doing remote recording for someone or whatever, even for, my new band, LS Dunes, we're sending files back and forth and they have to be to a metronome. So, it's fun to do this completely free time. So I do get to scratch that itch of feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you start the songs with like a metronome reference, or how do you get the tempos?
No, I just kind of go in, just kind of wherever the four on the 4 count lands is where the song is. You know what I mean? Which it's stressful.
Does it fluctuate after the gig? You're like, wow, that was really fast, or that felt slow. Does that ever come up?
Yeah. I mean, not so much lately, but in the past, it's definitely like, when you get somebody playing guitar, turning around and looking at you, it's like, oh shit, I must have started this one real fast. So I try to take a deep breath before each song and just remember like, okay, wherever you think it is, cut that by probably like 10 BPM.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's crazy what nerves do, and it's crazy how like you can hear a song on the radio and then 5 minutes later you could start humming that song and you could check you think you're humming it at that tempo. You know what I mean? You think you're like, oh, I just heard the song, this is the tempo, and you're like literally 10 BPM faster.
Yeah. Okay. So that's your tendency. Mine is always to start too slow. I don't know why. Maybe to overcompensate. I don't know.
See, sure. I love that. Like I'll watch a band like Deftones. I'll watch Abe play, and like that's a dude that like, man, their songs just work better slower. It's just so great hearing that band relaxed and with so much feel. I feel like for a band like Thursday, we thrive on the faster, the energy. You know what I mean? So it's I try to have both. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Do you guys get together rehearse before tour, or is at this point show up and play?
It's pretty much show up and play. We you know, if we have like a year off or something, we'll get together for like 3 or 4 days, or you know, as much as we can. Maybe it's usually been about 2 days. We'll run the set a few times and just dust the cobwebs off and kind of use sound checks for the first couple shows to work on any trouble spots. But for the most part, it's like everybody knows to show up with their best foot forward, and you know, I mean, when I'm at home, I'm playing all the time. You know what I mean? And I almost expect my band members to do the same. Not necessarily Thursday songs, but you know, if you play an instrument, you should be at home practicing. You know, I
Hmm.
just think that that's healthy.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have a space in your house, or do you have a rental space somewhere else?
I do. I'm lucky. I moved into my house in 2020, and I moved out of New York City. And one of my stipulations to my wife was, if you're going to move me out of the city, we need to find a house with a detached garage to where I can build a studio in it. And that's what we did. And my garage is like probably 20 yards from my house. And I
Mm.
built a room within a room in one of the bays. I have a 2 bay garage. So one of the bays is the rip room, and it's a room within a room, and it's soundproofed. And, you know, I can pretty much play in there whenever I want. I do have neighbors. So I try to keep it like after 9 a.m.
Hmm.
and shut it down at like 10:30. You know, I try to
That's still
not
pretty good.
those are my hours. You know, I don't want to ruin a good thing. You know what I mean? So I try
Yeah.
to keep it business hours, if you will.
So, what's a typical day for you on the road? You guys don't have many off days on this run.
Typical day is you know, I'm up early because I have a toddler, so I generally am used to being up at 7 a.m. So I try to sleep in till about 8, and then I shuffle about the front lounge until the bus is either stopped or we're parked up somewhere where you know we can go get coffee. You know, do coffee and hang out, basically wait to sound check. I usually go to the gym and work out. Like I'm a member of Planet Fitness, and you know, you can go to any single one across the country if you have a membership. But on this tour, winter, I've just been a hermit, not really
Mm.
leaving the bus. So I'll, you know, just wait for sound check and, you know, do that whole thing, and then pretty much hurry up and wait for the gig.
All right, a lot of downtime.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you do with
I'm
the
always the
downtime?
oh man, I'm either, you know, walking around, or you know, again, trying to figure out how to work out, or you know, I don't know, just hanging with my peoples. You know, I really don't. I'm not in a rhythm on this tour because we did a Thursday tour, then I did a Dunes tour, and then I went straight into a Thursday tour. So I'm all like, I feel like there's new people everywhere, so I'm very stimulated.
Hmm.
You know what I mean, with my band. So um yeah, I've been kind of slacking on you know, healthy stuff.
Do you have a regular pre-show routine to get you in the mode?
Yeah, I usually, you know, shut down all human contact about an hour before the show, where I just kind of get dressed into my battle uniform, and I, you know, grab a pair of sticks and I hit on anything that is, you know, not bouncy.
Mm.
And you know, I kind of just get in the zone a little bit. You know, I try to watch cursive a little bit too, so I can like get a feel for the room. And I also like, you know, I like to be inspired by music. You know what I mean? I love that band, and they're playing Domestica from front to back, so it's kind of awesome. It's one of my favorite records, so I get to watch that. You know, just get like I said, get inspired, and then, you know, not pull any muscles when I get up there.
Right. Do you have to check yourself the first couple songs to keep the adrenaline in control?
I used to, but now that I'm a little bit older, I kind of have a grip on, you know, remembering that like you don't want to blow yourself out. You know what I mean? And you want to. I like to start the set and finish the set with the same energy, you know, with the same
Hmm.
intensity. So, you know, I definitely, you know, in my younger years would go so hard in the first like 3 songs and then be like pretty spent
Hmm.
by like mid set. Um, but now I find it's like you play better when you keep a little bit back, just a little bit. You know, you're still going 110%, but you know, remember like technique and form, and try to hit the center of the drum. you know, all those little things kind of help me stay focused on stamina,
Hmm.
and actually tried to play well.
What about after the show? Do you have a cool down?
No, after the show, I immediately take my show clothes off and put my normal clothes on, and I hang the show clothes up and bring them out to the bus and stick them in the bus shower where they can dry. And then I'm in chill mode. I'm usually like eating peanut butter pretzels by, about 15 minutes post set.
Rock star life.
Yeah.
What is your kit on this run?
So I have a mahogany Q Drumco kit with a orange sparkle wrap, and I've had this kit for probably about 10 years now. And it was my kit that I so back in like 2012, 2013, I played in a boy band called The Wanted, and I had this kit made for that band, and it was sent to the UK, and we used it for a couple years, and then they broke up, and then the kit lived in the UK for a few years, and I never used it until one day. The production manager that was on that, it was on Shawn Mendes now, and he was like, "Yo, we're shipping stuff to New Jersey. Do you want that kit?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." So I like drove and picked up the kit, and now it's my main touring kit. Like, I just love the idea of like a Charlie Watts using the same kit for his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's how I feel about this orange sparkle kit. Like I want to use it forever. Like it's my road kit and I love it. It's always sounds great. It's durable. Because I have a Q Drum Co. copper kit, and that's my studio recording kit. It's on every record I've done in the past, I don't know, 10 years or so, 8 years. And but it's brittle. You know what I mean? If it's not in the proper cases in the trailer, it could get dented, and it has gotten dented.
Mm-hmm.
So I want my Road Warrior kit, which is this orange sparkle mahogany kit, because it's a wrap. So when it gets dinged, you can't really tell. It looks
Right.
good, sounds good, and it feels good. So, and it's like it's home.
Is that center hole in your bass drum also a Charlie Watts homage?
No, that's a Q Drum Co. Thing that's how they do their kick drum heads. That's how they send them on the new kits. And I just got used to that being where it where it is when I have the hole down in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I don't know if it's mental or whatever, but it feels different. I feel like kicking it and the air going straight out the hole is much better than it, kind of going like that.
Uh-huh. How do you tune it?
I'm insane. It's total mental thing. I know
it might not be. I mean, I'll probably challenge you on the nerdy, insane. How do you tune it? Is it as basically low as it can go?
Yes, yeah, because I do use a 14 by 26 kick. So it's shallow. So I do try to take the batter head down a bunch, and I use a Power Stroke 3 black dot with the Falam Slam pad on it. And I use a low boy beater, wood beater. So it's I get a lot of that click, but it also with it low, I feel like I get a lot of the soggy low end, if you will. And I finger tighten the front head.
Okay. What about dampening?
No, I use a blanket on the inside that is butted up against the batter side and barely touching the front side.
Okay. Is that consistent with the recording kit too?
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, what about toms?
For the toms, I'm using Control Sound Black Dots Remo, and I put no dampening on them. If I can get away with no dampening, I prefer no dampening on all the drums.
Okay. What is your snare of choice?
Snare of choice right now. Right now, I have a Control Sound X, Remo Control Sound X, and I love it. It's super durable, and I can go like multiple shows with it. But I feel like with snares, in a pinch, I'm always putting some kind of stuff on it, like whether it's gaff tape or a moon gel. Our front of house guy Mark is an absolute wizard, and he likes the snare tuned low, like super low. So I feel to get a lot of sensitivity, I like to dampen it a bunch to get it to sound like not honky at that low tuning. When you can get that. I don't like that.
What is the drum?
Right now for the touring drum is 7x14 aluminum cast Q drum snare.
That's beefy. That's a
It's
big
awesome.
boy.
Yeah, it's an awesome drum, and it's a workhorse. You know what I mean? It always sounds good. It like I said, the front of house person loves this tuning, low tuning, and it works great for that.
Hmm.
So, and my backup is a gentleman brass, but that's more of a studio snare for me.
Okay. Well, run down your cymbal setup while we're in the kit world.
So for Thursday, I have 15-inch Avidus Zildjian hats. I have a 22 Avidus ride with rivets as my left crash, 24 K light ride, and then a 22 K light ride. I
Oh,
love big
nice.
cymbals. Yeah.
Nice. Is that same for the studio?
For the studio, I try to mix and match, but I use a lot of Constantinobles in the studio, and I like super thin cymbals in the studio because I like them to be quick.
Hmm.
You know, I don't want to overpower the mix with that all that high end.
Sweet. What's in store for Thursday in 2023?
So right now, not a whole lot. I mean, we have a few things we're doing. We got a few festival offers and such. You know, we're really just having fun playing right now. So there's no real plans on recording or anything like that. We're just kind of enjoying, you know, people wanting to still see the band. So, and all of us have like multiple projects too. So we're kind of we have this collective, you know, where we're all kind of like working together on a bunch of different things.
So do you see it just continuing in perpetuity for you guys? Whenever you feel like playing, just get together and do it?
Yeah, I think so. And you know, we like to, you know, if we get an offer, we'll build something around it. You know what I mean? If we get like a cool festival, you know, we'll be, oh, we'll do like 2 weeks around that. You know, it'll be a good little run or something like that. So we, you know, like I said, we just really love playing live. The reason why we started this band was to play in our singer's basement back in the 90s. So we just really love playing live, and we really think that like a record is a flyer for a show in a way.
Mm-hmm. Let's shift into the new project, LS Dunes. First of all, what does the name mean?
It's doesn't have really any meaning at all. We just kind of like the you know, when you're starting a band and all of the really great names are taken. You know, it's not like we can name our band Metallica, you know what I mean, or fucking Iron Maiden. You know, that's taken. So
you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
yeah, you got all those, but you're like flipping through the dictionary or whatever, and it's like, but we came up with Dunes as like, okay, this has a cool visual, a cool image. You know, it's like, you know, I feel like this record's very desert inspired. You know, it makes me think of the desert when I listen to it and when I play the song. So Dunes was like a good name, and then Anthony, our singer, was like, well, what if we did something where it was like LSD, like LS Dunes, and like, and then we kind of stuck with like, oh yeah, LS Dunes, that's cool. It kind of sounds like an author, like T.S. Eliot or you know. So we kind of we were into it just being like, oh, this is like a book, like a novel, like an author, and so LS Dunes was stuck.
How did it come about? The way Apple Music presents it, it's as if you were the kind of the ringleader of the project.
I suppose I was. Yeah. I mean, I like I said, I bought my house in 2020, and when I realized that the pandemic was going to go on longer than, you know, we thought, I was like, man, I got to get on this. I need to buy some recording equipment. I need to learn how to record, because if I'm going to be, you know, I had an infant at the time, so I couldn't really go anywhere anyway. But I was like, I need to make money. So maybe if I learn how to record, if I watch enough YouTube videos, buy enough gear, I can do remote recording, you know. And that's what I did. And I taught myself how to record drums, and and then I got a few offers to do records. I did like the Sparta record. I did a Jim Ward solo record, and I was hungry to write, and I wanted to write with other people. And you know, my friend Frank, I did Frank Iero and the Future Violence with him, so I knew that we spoke the same musical language, and I knew that we could write some songs together, whether that we play them out or we just have them as a you know, an exercise, a brain exercise. And you know, and then I always wanted to play with Travis from Coheed. He's a good friend of mine. We took Coheed out on their first tour back in, you know, whatever fucking decade it was. And And then, Tim, the bass player of Thursday, he's like literally one of the best musicians I've ever played with, and makes my job as a drummer super easy because he can hide all my flaws with his superior bass lines and bass skills. He's like truly phenomenal. Um, so, we just kind of started writing songs and writing things and sending things back and forth. And we had, the idea of asking Anthony to be in our band, who's the singer, Anthony Green. And, so we sent him a couple of songs, and I told him that these are just friends of mine. I was like, hey, a couple of buds and I wrote some songs. Would you want to just try to sing over them? And he was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to. And he sent back the first song that was written, just instruments. That's the song he chose to sing over. We sent him like 5 songs. He chose the first one that we ever wrote to sing over. So it was like kind of like kismet in a way. And I was like, well, this is awesome. I was like, would you like to do this? Because I think we have a band here. And he's like, yeah, sure. He's like, and I was like, well, all the people in the band. And so he's like, oh my God. He's like, I'm so psyched. This is amazing. So I think we were all going through a rough time. I think everybody in the world is going through a rough time.
Right.
And this was truly one of the things that I think saved us all, all in this band, at least, was having this project and being able to kind of span this awful time with a truly creative, collaborative experience.
Did you have any intention of making it a physical band where you'd go on the road?
I don't think so. I don't think so at first, because this was at a time where our industry people were telling us it was dead. You know what I mean? Like, it's not coming back. You should probably get a job at Amazon or something like that. Start a new career, because it's just that easy. You know what I mean? When you're been a musician pretty much your whole adult life. Oh, just switch gears.
Yeah,
you've given up everything for music. So just, go get another job.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so we just kind of started it to write some songs, you know what I mean? To like literally scratch the itch of like trying to play music with other people, even if it wasn't in the same room. So we had no intention on making a record even, just thought maybe we'd write a batch of songs or, just have fun doing it. And it literally became sort of an addiction. And then as Anthony would sing over more things, it became apparent that we had something special, and I know everybody says that about their projects and their bands, and they all are special and unique. But this one I felt truly 100% connected to myself and to my bandmates and music.
So who decided, let's go play a show? Was it a booking agent? Was it a manager? Was it one of you?
I think it as things started to open back up and things started getting announced and the fact that, MCR was doing these shows and, all of us were kind of off. Like Anthony and I were going to be in Chicago doing Riot Fest anyway, because Thursday had an after show and Anthony had a solo show. And Anthony was literally riding on the bus with Thursday. And Frank was already going to be out there headlining Riot Fest. And Tim and Travis were off. So we were just like, all right, let's just do that as a first show. It's close enough to the record. We can kind of announce the band and who's in the band. And we put a song out prior to that show called Permanent Rebellion, and people liked it. So, it was kind of like, all right, this is a rollout for the record. This is part of the rollout.
So what's in store for this project? More touring?
More touring. We have a tour at the end of January into February. We're doing UK and Europe. We're writing a bunch. Our strong point is not being in a room together because we're all pretty busy. But our strong point is writing songs and writing music and being productive without having to be together. So we're currently writing. I mean, there was stuff passed around yesterday. You know what I mean? So there's going to be new music. There's going to be some touring. This is a full-time gig for all of us.
Mm-hmm. What is your songwriting process and part writing? I guess songwriting and part writing, two questions in one.
So it's weird. A lot of these songs started bass line first. Tim would send a bass line out and I would put drums over it. And then, guitars would kind of go on top of it. Some of the songs came guitar first and I would put drums over that, but there were a few that I would write a beat, because like I said, I play every day when I'm at home, and I try to come up with stuff. So I'll put a beat to a tempo, something that I've been working on, and if it inspires somebody to write something over it, cool. So some of the songs started that way. But the unique thing about writing remotely like this, and is trying to keep the rest of the band members engaged. I feel each of us trying to keep ourselves engaged in the writing process. So if I would get a guitar part, I would, as fast as I possibly could, come up with the most intelligent drum part I could. Simple, intelligent, intuitive, easy to write over, and send it to the next person. So the speed at which we had to work to stay engaged, I think, captured that like youthful energy that we got back in the day when we were writing our first records, like Full Collapse or Waiting, or, whatever, the first Coheed record, first Circa record, like all of that energy that you had. I think we captured that in this writing process, as far as like trying to just keep the ball rolling, because we could not physically be in the same room together.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you commit to your parts in that early go round, or does it go through like a revision process before you finish it up?
I mean, I commit to like the theme. I've always, since I started playing drums, I found that there's a theme in the drums, and the theme is usually built around some sort of drum fill. You know what I mean? Some sort of part that repeats, or a signal. If you will, like a this fill is the signal to the next part. So a lot of the themes drum wise for me stayed the same. And a lot of the beats actually stayed the same as well. But there was definitely a bunch of revision after we did like a day of pre-production. We worked with Will Yip, producer, and he's a phenomenal musician, a phenomenal drummer, and a fantastic producer. So he had a lot of ideas of steering this, the songs different ways for vocals. You know what I mean? And he and Anthony got together and would do vocals. So a lot of the stuff that like, oh, I thought this was going to be the verse, would become the chorus, you know what I mean? Which was crazy. Cool. So things kind of got flipped on their ear a little bit, but mostly everything stayed remotely the same. But when we went into record with Will, I went in and did drums by myself. Frank came with me, but he had a broken arm at the time, so he couldn't really play. I just, this band, we really got rid of a lot of ego. You know what I mean? Like this, I was down to do whatever people told me to do, whatever worked better for the song, without sounding like a jerk, I already know that I can play. You know what I mean? I know that I'm confident in my playing. Do I think I'm the best drummer? No, absolutely not. I don't even think I'm a good drummer, but I know that I can get the job done. So when you strip that away, and say like, listen, whatever works for the song, I think it just helps the process go that much faster.
Mm-hmm. You think that's something that came with just age and experience, or more because you've been recording so much on your own and really refining what you do?
I don't know. A lot of people say it comes with age, and the whole you get to learn the less is more thing. And I get that. And I like that. But, I also like a little left of center, and I like fun things. Mm-hmm. So, I try to keep that less is more in the back of my mind, but I also want to write things that are challenging. I want to write things that are challenging to play live. I want to write fills that people air drum on the steering wheel of their car. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what it's all about. Like, I know all my favorite songs, man. You can't not air guitar or air drum or like sing in the shower, So that's kind of what I want. I want to give people the experience that I got from my favorite stuff.
Right on. Well, we got the 10-minute countdown here, so I'm going to shoot a word association at you if you're cool with it.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, I'm just going to say a word. It might be a person, it might be a band, it might be whatever, a concept. And first thing comes to mind, Bonham.
Oh, orange.
Orange. Deftones.
Abe.
Quicksand.
Oh, Walter's the best. Alan Cage, Ripper. Slip, Manic Compression, two of the best records of all time. My favorite band in the world is Quicksand.
Grohl.
That's too many words. Grohl?
Grohl.
God. Idol.
Q drums.
Jeremy Berman, salt of the earth, one of the best human beings on the actual planet, and pushing for him to get better.
Drum samples.
I've done them.
Touring.
Tired.
It's probably a bad time to bring that one up.
Look at this. Look at this room I'm in. This is it. This is it. This is me right now.
That's the life. Emo.
Ugh.
Just ugh.
Ugh.
Solos.
Hard.
All right. Instagram.
Addictive. And necessary. It sucks. Sucks. You got to do it, and I hate it. I hate it, but you got to learn to love it. And whatever.
Thursday.
Legacy.
All right, this one might require more than a first one-word response. Your first snare drum.
The first one I willingly purchased was a DW Craviotto.
Nice. Good choice. You still have it?
Still have it. Still have it.
Does it still get use?
It's got a new head on it as we speak. I broke one of the lugs off, so I had to get a new gold lug to match the old gold lug, which is a pain in the ass to find.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really get used much, but a lot of the writing of Full Collapse was done on that snare drum. Not the recording, the writing.
Nice. Last word, Jersey.
I'm back.
Awesome. Well, that's it, man. Thank you for coming on. Is there anywhere we should point people to follow what's going on? Any websites or in particular?
I mean, just Instagram. And if you can follow the Q Drums Instagram and help out Jeremy, that's our main focus right now.
Oh, thanks, Tucker.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate the time.